Hello! Hi, my name is Tanya and I'm going to show you some basic stitches today. Alright, we're gonna do 3 stitches, running stitch, back stitch, and chain stitch. So don't worry if you have no experience in sewing, you are a beginner, this is perfect for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoy learning these stitches today, and it's important that you must practice because practice makes perfect. Alright, so I have the few things that you actually need. We're gonna do some simple stitching today, and first of all you actually need a needle like this, embroidery needle. Okay, so it's actually longer, a bit thicker, and the eye of the needle is a bit bigger, as you can see. I'm going to use embroidery thread, which is thicker, alright, so that it will look prettier and you can also see more clearly. Alright, embroidery thread is actually thread that has about few strands put together, so it's thicker. This is the thread that people also use to make friendship bands and stuff like that. I have a snipper. If you don't have a snipper, it's fine. You can actually just use a scissors to cut off the threads, right? And I quite like to use a needle threader. It makes it easier. You can find these anywhere. I'm going to use this denim material because I'm just gonna demonstrate the stitches, and I want something that is thicker, a little bit thicker, and it's a darker color, so I'll show the thread. And I have actually pre-marked with some chalk, fabric chalk. I pre-marked some lines so that it might look a bit neater. Okay, so first thing you need to do is take the needle, right? So you have to thread the needle threader in. It's easier than trying to thread the thread itself. Okay. Alright, put the thread through. Just a little bit is enough. Okay, and pull. So usually I like to press down on the wires because sometimes if you're a bit rough and you pull too tight, the wire of the needle threader might actually come out. Okay. Now that you've threaded through, just pull a little bit more. Okay, so you'll have one thread shorter than the other. Okay, so you take the longer piece, you're going to make a knot. Very simple, just make a simple knot, right? And usually, if you're using thicker fabric, one knot should be enough. Okay, if you feel that it's not secure, you can always make another knot. I'll just show you. Another knot over the first one, okay? Over the first one. Like that. Alright, so that's to make sure that when you pull, after you thread through, that this doesn't come out. Alright, so this is how it will look like. Your needle, your thread, there's a shorter piece, and the longer one has the knot at the end. Alright, so now I'm going to just show the very first basic stitch, which would be called a running stitch. Okay, so I'm going to start by threading the needle from the back. So don't worry, if you're just practicing, it doesn't matter where. Okay, from the back, let's pull it out first, and pull gently. Don't pull it too fast because you don't want your thread to get entangled. It can get entangled because of the tension. Alright, so just next to it, I'm gonna follow the line that I actually drew. I'm gonna poke it through the needle. Okay, you can see it at the back. But at the same time, I'm going to try and pierce it out. Okay, poke it through again. to the front. Alright, so I want to show you again slowly. So you have to leave a space. Alright, up to you how much space. I'm gonna poke to the back and poke it out to the front. Alright, yeah, so that is your first running stitch. So as you can see, it should look the same back and front. It will look like there's a piece of thread and then it's blank, and then there'll be a piece of thread and then it's blank. This is also a good stitch when you want to stitch two fabrics together but you want to hand sew. So you just have to make the space in between the stitches smaller. Okay, I made it smaller this time for you to see, and it can be a pretty strong stitch. Okay, so this is the second stitch. You see, same, there'll be a space, stitch, space, stitch, stitch, space, stitch, space, so it will look like that. Okay, so poke through from the top to the back, you see that, then from the back poke back out to the front. Okay, so this is your running stitch. Okay, you might think that it's easier to pierce through and pull out from the other side, but no, it's actually easier this way. Always keep your work facing you, and so you have better control of what you're sewing. See? So I'll just like do it to the end. Another. Okay, well, maybe one more stitch. So if I want to end it, I'm going to have to put this knot again, but at the back. Okay, because this is your front, you want your front to look nice. So I'm going to pierce through, so don't pierce it back out to the front. I'm going to pierce through, pull it out. Okay, I'm going to flip it over to the back. I'm going to make that knot like I did in the beginning. Okay, so I like to use my finger to press it down so that I can control the knot, that it will remain, or it will end up in this spot or as close as possible to the fabric. But you don't have to pull so tight because you don't want your material to become like this. Okay, you just want it to be flat. Now if you think that this knot is not enough, okay, you can always do another one. So I'll do the second one slowly. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of loop, you see, loop the thread. I'm gonna take the needle and put it under. Okay, after I loop under, see that's basically the knot. And I'm going to see, I pull so that I can get it to be together with the first knot. Okay, alright, so I'm going to use the snipper, or if you don't have a snipper, you can always use scissors, right? And just snip. So if you're new to this sewing, you don't have to cut so close to the knot. Just another half or 1 cm, it's fine. Okay, so yay, we are done with your running stitch. Okay, and so now we are going to do another stitch. Alright, it's called a back stitch. It's quite similar to the running stitch. Okay, same thing, same needle, same thread. Alright, the longer piece, longer strand, you're gonna do the knot, okay? Knot. And she'll do it slow motion again. And do it slowly so that it's together, okay? You're gonna overlap and be together with the first knot. See that? That's nice. Alright, so back stitch. Alright, I have vaguely drawn some lines with fabric chalk. If you are using a fabric that doesn't have any lines, you can always just draw as a guideline. Alright? So say I'm going to actually have my stitch start here. I mean my stitch is supposed to come out here, right? That means I need a stitch that goes across. Let's say I'm going to follow my stitch above. But for back stitch, I have to go backwards. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do is I won't pierce my needle through here. I will leave a bit of space. Same thing, I need to pierce from behind. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I mean. You see that? Okay, so you think that I'm not doing it straight or following, but actually I'm going to go backwards. That's why it's back stitch. Alright, so first, let's pierce it. Alright, I'm going to go. So now I'm not going from left to right. Now I'm going right to left. Do you see what I'm doing? So this one, okay, I'm going to pierce through and I'm going to pierce from behind to the front. So it's a bit similar to this one, but you will see the difference, okay? Alright, I'm now going to pierce from the front to the back. So what you're gonna do is you need to pierce from the your last stitch, okay? Where the last stitch, you see where I'm going? The same hole, huh? You're gonna go in. Okay, I pierced to the back, right? So I need to come out again in the front. Okay, gotta be careful when you do anything with sewing. You can get poked by the needle. You see what I've done? Okay, if you find this too difficult, let's do it very slowly. From the front, we're going to pierce to the back, alright? So, you see, this is exactly where the last stitch, okay, the exact same hole that stitch, okay, right to left, because it's back stitch, alright? So you're gonna pierce through that hole, same hole as that stitch, okay? Let's pull it out to the back, alright? Now I want to come out around here, so I need to pierce from the back. If you can't see, just look behind, okay, and pierce. Are we in line? Okay, maybe just a little bit up. Okay, about there, okay? We'll just practice first. And now, okay, from the back coming out to the front, let's pull it out. See that? Okay, so the difference between the back stitch and the running stitch is that running stitch looks like running, right? Means that stitch, no stitch, stitch, no stitch. But back stitch means that you're going to have a continuous line, straight line of just stitches. There will be no space. And you notice that you're actually going from right to left. So like going backwards instead of left to right. Okay, now you go back in to the hole of that stitch, right? Okay, to the back, pull it out. And now we're going to, from the back, try to pierce it out to the front. Okay, now you know why. Wait, let me pull this out first, huh? Okay, now you know why that when I pierce through here, through the hole, from the front to the back, that I try to come out straight away, because I can control my needle. See, it can be more straight. You see that? So I can actually control my needle to come out straight away instead of having to do double work by looking at the front and the back. And don't worry, even if you're new to sewing, you should get used to good habits so that it makes it easier for you to handle. So you should just look at your work from the front. See? See, this is a lot easier because you can actually see what you're doing. And you can make it straighter. So I'm going to do it again. Poke through that hole, right? See that? You see that? So if I pull it out and I think, oh, okay, this space is not big enough, then I can always adjust it. I can just pull the needle out and adjust it where I want to come out. See that? So we will continue to do the back stitch. See that? So I find, oh, it's a bit crooked. So let's see, let me try and straighten it out. Okay, does that look a bit more straight now? See, you control actually from your needle because you can actually see whether it's straight enough. But this is just practicing. And you should try and practice on a fabric with some design that has lines, or you can always use the fabric chalk and draw some lines. In fact, I will show you. I will show you guys the type of fabric that might be more suitable. This is actually for you to see more clearly what I'm doing, just in case the material looks complicated and you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, see that? Okay, so we don't worry so much about it being too straight or big or anything. I just want you to get used to the feeling of sewing the stitches and with control of the front facing you. Okay, alright, so we are almost at the end. Maybe I'll just do one more stitch here. Okay, so now I'm going to end it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pierce back into this hole of the last stitch, right? Bring it out to the back. So you see what the back looks like for back stitch? Different, right? Okay. Same thing like how you did your knot in the beginning. Okay, going to do a second one in slow motion. Alright. So what I did was I pulled the fabric to loop. See the loop? Take the needle, thread under. Okay, I'm pulling it a little bit tight so that I have control. You see what's happening? You see the knots happening now, slowly, because I want the knot to be on top of the other one. So that is one big knot. Okay, now you can cut your thread. Then, ta-da! Running stitch, back stitch. Alright, so now we are going to test your skills in trying out another stitch. This will be totally up to you whether you want to use it, but I'm just going to teach you anyway. The principle is similar, okay, similar to running stitch. So same thing, your needle, thread it, one short, one long, okay, take the long one, tie a knot. Okay, I'm going to do it slowly. Let's do a second one. Ta-da! Okay, so again, we're going to pierce the fabric from the back. Okay. Alright, pull it all the way out. Now, so this is the starting, okay? Now I'm going to pierce back into the same hole that this thread came through. Okay, now it's at the back, right? Okay, I'm going to pierce it from the back. From the back to the front, okay? And before I pull it out, I'm going to take the thread and I'm going to loop around the needle. You see what happened? Okay, I'm going to pull the needle out slowly. So for this stitch, please don't pull tight, huh? Be gentle. Okay. Alright, I think the embroidery thread. Give me a second, make it a little bit better. Alright. So it looks like a little loop. You see that? Alright, it's like a little loop. Now I'm going to repeat again. Pierce through the one where the thread came out from, same hole, right? I'm out at the back now, and I'm going to pierce out to the front. You see that? So now that I pierced out to the front, before the needle goes all the way through, take this thread, okay, this thread right here, loop it, okay, put it around the needle. You see that? Around the needle. Now pull the needle out slowly, okay? So don't pull tight. If you pull tight, you won't be able to see the chain, okay? This is a chain stitch. It's similar to the running stitch concept, if you notice, but you need to do it slowly because you don't want to pull tight. If you pull tight, you won't be able to see this loop, these round things, okay? So now I'm gonna pierce back. Alright, so I pierced out from the back and pierced from the back to the front. And I'm going to take this thread, I'm going to loop it, put it around the needle. Now slowly pull the needle out. Slowly. We don't want it to be tight. Okay. See when it's like, see? Just nice. So that's why you have to do this slowly, because you need to control the stitch. But it's a very pretty stitch. When you want to decorate, you know, sew something, you can like an initial or a name or some, or you just want to do it around like a border, this is a really pretty stitch. Okay, so again, pierce through the hole that this thread came up from to the back, right? And then pierce from the back to the front and loop the thread around the needle. Okay, and slowly pull it out. See that? That's so cute. I personally love this stitch a lot, and it's not difficult to do. That's the reason why I guess I also love it a lot. Okay, again, through that hole of the last stitch, right? Okay, the thread that came out, and then to the back, and from the back to the front. Now you put the thread around the needle and pull it out. So how wide, okay, how big your chain is all up to you. Okay, because if I were to, okay, let me see. So I'm going to pierce again. So if I pierce from the back to the front, you see, so much wider. Of course, I will have a bigger chain. You see what will happen? So if I don't pull it out, you can actually imagine how big the chain will be. You can actually see. Alright? Or I want something really small, but I don't recommend that you actually do it too small. See? Because if you do it too small, you can't really see the chain. So you should go for about maybe half cm at least, so that you can see it more clearly. You see that? And if you pull too tight, see what happens to your chain? You won't be able to see it. So don't pull so tight. Be gentle and go slow. So sewing is something that cultivates patience. Yeah, so you have to do it slowly, but you can make very beautiful things with it, with sewing. And see? So you see what happens when you pull too tight? I can actually adjust. I'll have to pull all the other stitches, but I just want to show you, okay? So we're almost reaching the end. Let me just finish this. Alright, another, and then I will show you how to end your chain stitch, okay? So you see when you started is slightly different. When you continue is like this, and now to end. Alright, so when you want to end, you see this is the loop, right? So the loop is actually loose, nothing is holding it. So you need to pierce. I came out from here, right? You need to pierce just after it. Alright, you can pierce back into the same hole. But you see what I have done? You see this? You see this? So what I'm going to do is I actually have gone over this loop so that I can hold the loop down. Okay, see? So now your loop is sewn down. Okay, so flip it over to the back. We're going to tie our knots again. So loop, needle under, Alright, I'm gonna do a second one. So do it slowly so you can make sure that it's one on top of the other to become a bigger knot. Alright, snip off. There you go, chain stitch. Pretty, right? Running stitch, back stitch, and chain stitch. Hey, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please click on the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and comment if you have any questions to ask, and well, please subscribe for more of my crafty videos. Thank you.